We are here with Jim Cooper and Stuart Maddow with Homestead Senior Care, and they are also our show sponsors for today. So thank you for sponsoring the show, and thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. I know a lot of people, as they get older, need a little bit of help from time to time, but really like to maintain their independence. Or they may have family that are helping them out, but they can't always be there. They might need to go away or go to work or what have you. We just went through that with my grandmother, where she was, needed some additional help and did not want to be out of her home. So could you talk a little bit about how in-home care works and what kind of criteria people should look towards when they're trying to make a decision about how to get some extra support in the home?
Sure. And that's a great scenario, and that's the way a lot of people enter home care for the first time. They may have just a very small need. Maybe it's a ride to the doctor. Maybe there are mobility issues. Possibly a person has trouble remembering to take their medication in the morning, typically a senior. And so the best thing about an organization like Homestead and non-medical home care is that it's very easy to access. There's no need for a physician referral. People it's at their discretion whenever it would serve them well. And so a lot of times people will try us just for a few hours to say, good, now we have a backup plan.
Well, it makes a difference.
Yes.
And I noticed too, it's not just to come in and do personal care. I noticed it could be light housekeeping or meal preparation, and so it's, I think it's a great resource when you have someone who's older, or just to check in on somebody.
To have the flexibility and not a big overhead commitment.
Yeah.
We have like 60 different services that we can provide, the most common of which you've just said. As far as criteria, there's a lot of options out there, and the only thing that we would say is if people are looking to see what their options are, to make sure that they're talking to people who are licensed through the state. Homestead is licensed through the state to provide in-home care.
How does somebody check to make sure that you're...
Just call the health department in Raleigh, essentially.
Okay.
Or if you're calling someone, say, are you licensed by the state of North Carolina to provide this care? Because there are some smaller agencies and mom and pop organizations, and there's no oversight for that. So
well, I know, especially if you're letting someone go into the home of a senior and you're not there. So I know, my grandmother too, it was always like, oh, I don't need the help, I'm fine. What are some of the signs where you really just do want to start bringing someone in to help out? And I'm sure they'll realize that it does help once they start getting some
a lot of our clients suffer from dementia. So that's a big need right there. But a lot of are resistant to, you're bringing a stranger into your home, essentially. What I find, and I know Jim does, is after we're in there a few days and they start to bond, the senior's like, hey, this is pretty good.
Well, somebody to talk to too,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And they do, on LKN Savings, you have a 3-hour free trial. There's no commitment. It's, got a $60 value, and have someone come in and try it out for a few hours and see how it does make a difference. Because it is one of the options out there for senior care.
Right,
so.
yeah, and I think it's great too,
Less
the
disruptive,
flexibility
too.
that you can just decide, probably with not a whole lot of advance notice, right, that you've got something comes up this week and you need to have a backup plan, and then once you get comfortable with that and you have that in place, it's, I think, just, kind of a relief for people to know that they've got somebody they can call.
If there's an emergent need, we can help them very quickly.
Well, that's a good question. Do you need a lot of notice?
We ask for 48 hours, but if someone calls us, let's say the hospital calls us, say we're discharging someone, there's no family here, can you get someone here as quickly as possible? We usually can get them there very quickly, both in Mecklenburg and in Iredell. The more advanced planning, the better, but if there is an emergent need, we can help. And we're flexible in terms of, if it's just a one-time 3 hours or up to 24-hour care, we can provide as well.
Well, that's great. And if you have additional questions, if people have additional questions, they can find a link to your website and your contact information on lknsavings.com, along with the offer for the free 3 hours, which hopefully people take advantage of, because it's a great resource.
Homestead Senior, Homestead Care, Homestead.com is also a very easy website to access and find the information. But we encourage people to go to Lake Norman Savings for sure.
All right.
Let me go back to one question you you asked, Lori, and that is, how do people know when the time is right? We really encourage people to not wait until there's an emergency situation. Often
Get
people,
the relationship now.
Exactly. Establish a connection so that then you always have a backup plan, so that when you need more, it's in place and it's just ready to roll. but often people wait until there's a fall or mom left the stove on and there was a fire.
Right.
But we encourage people, go ahead and step out, do some homework, get some education, talk to a group like Home Instead Senior Care. We'd love to visit with you about resources from Home Instead, but also resources beyond that, if that would be helpful to people.
Great.
Right, that's
Well,
good
you are a
advice,
wealth of
ease into
information
it.
too.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for coming on the show,
You're
and
so
thank you for
welcome.
being our sponsor.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
us.
thanks.
We'll be right back.
Classic Bride and Formals, located in historic downtown Davidson, specializes in beautiful clothing and accessories. Come visit us for bridal, prom, and pageant, and dressing for all of your special occasions. On 106 South